Hello and welcome to another episode of Talking Faith, the devotional where I spend a little bit of time reflecting over the words of Scripture and bringing those reflections to you as we think them through together. Sorry that I've been away for the last couple of weeks. I've been quite busy, but I'm happy to be back with you now. As you remember, we are most of the way through the book by Jen Weckland called In His Image, and today I want to continue going through that book together by considering another of God's characteristics, God most truthful. So as I unpack this a little bit, I urge you to get yourself a cup of tea or a cup of coffee to sit back and relax as we continue talking faith together. If you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Being truthful is something that I find very important. I was always brought up to tell the truth whenever I possibly could. And as I was growing up, I was actually relatively naive, so I believed of a lot of what people said to me, even things that were clearly not true. I remember on a youth weekend away, I was maybe about 11 years old, our youth leader asked us one day to get our swimming gear together and go towards the community hall. However, I wasn't really paying attention. I wasn't the best at paying attention when I was that age. So I heard the concept of the swimming gear, picked up and headed out. So I asked him on the way, why did he need us to pick up this stuff? And the response was, oh, we're going on this cool adventure through the local river. And, you need your swimming gear because we'll be swimming in the river. And as he was telling me this, there was like a couple of giggles, but I didn't really think anything of it. When we got to the community centre, I realised that we're just going to the plain old pool, not on this cool adventure that he somewhat promised to me. And now looking back, I understand that he was just mocking me a little bit because I hadn't paid attention to him. But in the moment, I was actually quite devastated because I realized he lied to me. He was my youth leader and he lied to me. Now, obviously, I grew up and understood that it was all just a good laugh. It wasn't anything important. It wasn't anything real. It wasn't really a lie. However, I never forgot that feeling that I felt when I thought he'd lied to me. I realized that lying to one another can damage relationships and can make people not trust one another. Obviously, this is a silly example, but I think there's some truth in it. You see, God calls us to be truthful in life just as he is truthful. We heard from the passage earlier on that he calls us to live in truth. And I believe that when we look in the Bible, we can see God communicating with us through Jesus and through many others, communicating his truth of who he is and who we are in regards to him. So in regards to who we are, I think God has spoke many truths of that through Scripture. And I think that helps us to answer some questions that we have in life. Jen Weckland highlights a couple of these questions in her book and shows us that God responds to them. The 4 questions that she brings up is, where do we come from? Why are we here? What's wrong with the world around us? And what fixes what's wrong? Big questions that I'm sure many people have had. And God responds to them. Firstly, he responds to where do we come from? He responds to that by saying we are not an accident. We are created by him and he loves his creation. Secondly, why are we here? Many people might ask that with their life, and God calls us to think of it as we are here to bring glory to him and to enjoy him and his world. Thirdly, why is the world messed up? And I think that comes back to Genesis chapter 3, Adam and Eve rebelling against God. Since then, we've been disconnected from him due to sin, and the world's messed up due to that. And how can we fix what's wrong? The answer is we can. God did 2,000 years ago on the cross through the person of Jesus. These truths come out through Scripture. These are the truths that God speaks into each and every one of our lives, and we have an opportunity to hear that. And I think that gives us such passion in life to hear his truth to why we are here. It gives us purpose, it gives us meaning, and it gives us that calling to go and glorify him by telling others of who he is. Now, in light of all that truth that he speaks of us, that truth that gives us purpose, I think that should encourage us to, just like God, be people of truth, to go and to share his truth around and also to be truthful in the words that we share with others. Try not to lie as best as we can and call for God's strength to do that. Hopefully, this talk has been a bit of an encouragement to you as you continue on your week. God bless.